Coming up on AgweekTV, the Biden administration continues to assemble its ag team in Washington. Concerns arise about the future of agricultural transportation with the politics of oil pipelines. Livestock manure is changing from a waste product to a valuable commodity. And the Minnesota legislature considers an E15 mandate. Welcome to AgweekTV. I'm Michelle Rook. The Biden administration continued confirmation hearings this week in assembling their ag team. On Tuesday, the Senate confirmed former Iowa Governor Tom Vilsack as ag secretary for a second time by a vote of 92-7. On Thursday, the Senate Finance Committee heard from U.S. Trade Representative nominee Katherine Tai, and USDA's new Deputy Undersecretary for Farm Production and Conservation was named. It's Arizona's Gloria Montagna Green. Speaking of appointments, a South Dakotan is making history as the first Native American to be named Farm Service Agency Administrator. Zach Duchino and his family run DX Ranch on the Cheyenne River Sioux Reservation. He was serving as executive director of the Intertribal Agriculture Council, where he used agriculture as an economic development tool in Indian country. He says that will transition well into his role as head of FSA.
What Indian country has been doing in agriculture holds a lot of promise for solution building and knocking down barriers. And I'm very excited at the opportunity to do it within the Farm Service Agency.
Duchino also worked to reshape ag finance in Indian country and wants to make FSA guaranteed loans and other programs more targeted and effective for farmers.
And it's always about a commitment to the farmers. I think there's a great opportunity there to change it to what can we do instead of what do we have, what's the bare minimum we have to do.
He additionally wants to position agriculture to win in the administration's climate change plan. President Biden's halting of the Keystone XL pipeline project and a murky future for the Dakota Access Pipeline has increased the concern about the ability to transport agricultural goods and energy. Experts on the Northern Corn and Soybean Expo's transportation panel say they can handle the additional traffic, especially with the investments made in rail infrastructure after the crisis in 2013 and 14.
Yes, I'm absolutely confident in our ability to handle that additional volume across our northern corridor. We've invested $5.4 billion over that northern corridor, and $1.3 billion was used for expansion projects.
The entire infrastructure pipeline has already proven itself as it has been efficiently handling the robust China export demand the last several months, including record U.S. soybean sales to China, much of which has already been shipped out of the PNW.
I haven't heard of any issues with regard to turning over ships and getting them in and out of the lower Columbia River quickly.
We set volume records, especially to the PNW as well as on the aggregate in the fourth quarter.
Increased export business also helped the transportation outlets recover from low volume earlier in 2020, tied to the pandemic. The Biden administration's changes in energy and climate policy have major implications for agriculture, according to South Dakota Senator John Thune. The head of the Senate Commerce Committee says he's concerned about the future of the pipelines and the negative impact that could have on the ag transportation system. He says they want to avoid another crisis like 2013-14, which crippled movement of ag products to market and depressed grain prices.
I do think that's the risk you run, and I was disappointed that that was one of President Biden's first moves. I think the pipelines have been proven over time to be much more safe, reliable than putting it on a rail car or loading it up in a tanker truck or whatever.
As far as climate change policy, Thune says it's possible for agriculture to profit from a carbon credit market for things they're already doing to be environmental. He has talked to farm groups and has advised them to work together to get what they want and deserve out of the climate change agenda. The EPA announced they will follow the 10th Circuit Court of Appeals ruling from January 2020 on RFS small refinery exemptions. EPA's new leadership agrees with the court and biofuels litigants that waivers were meant to be temporary and only pre-existing exemptions may be extended by the agency. This may mean less SREs in the future. Various agricultural issues are heating up in the North Dakota legislature. A bonding bill hit the House floor this week. The size was cut to $680 million, including funding for the NDSU Ag Products Development Center. It does not include money for county roads and bridges. Other revenue streams are being looked at, including a gas tax increase. Meanwhile, a Senate subcommittee rejected a 15% reduction for NDSU extension and research. In Minnesota, a bill has been introduced to shift the state's fuel standard to E15 by July 2022. A similar bill was heard last year, but this one contains infrastructure updates to help smaller locations comply. New fuel stations have compatible equipment for E15. Those selling less than 300,000 gallons would be exempt. Legislation is also being considered, calling for $5.5 million in grants and direct payments to farmers for soil health practices. Still ahead on our Agweek cover story.
Some farmers are taking a proactive stance on some of the carbon and nitrogen issues facing the country.
Superior Grain Equipment is committed to quality and service. Protect your bottom line and your future with superior quality, protection, and reliability. Make the superior choice today with Superior Grain Equipment.
Giddy up, partners. It's time for the 84th Annual North Dakota Winter Show in Valley City, March 10th through the 14th. Don't miss the PRCA rodeo performances starting Friday, March 12th. And with thrilling events all weekend long, there's something for the whole family. It's the 84th Annual North Dakota Winter Show. Find our complete schedule and tickets at northdakotawintershow.com or find us on Facebook.
At North Star Ag, we're more than your short-line machinery dealer. We're also full service, and we're farmers first. That means we know it's not about what's best, but what's best for your farm. Whether you're planting, growing, or harvesting, we're there for all your equipment, parts, and service needs. And we've been doing it since 2009, with the largest inventory and availability in the area. Check us out at northstar-ag.com or call us at 701-361-4790.
Challenges. We all face them at some time. But it seems that ag has seen its fair share over the past few years. Has your farming operation been able to stand the challenges? If not, maybe it's time to talk to the risk management specialist at Martinson Ag. We can help you make the sound decisions to help your operation weather the storm. Martinson Ag, your one-stop shop for crop insurance, livestock insurance, and marketing. We are here to take your operation to the next level.
Superior Grain Equipment offers you the industry's best dryer and grain handling equipment. So make the superior choice and get higher quality grains, test weights, and prices while using half the energy. Superior Grain Equipment.
For Agweek, this is Mikkel Pates at Watertown, South Dakota.
We'll look at the positive impacts that dairy can have on the community.
A Minnesota couple has put a grain bin to a new use. Spoiler alert, it's not grain.
This elaborate system of tubing with the downhill slope is how Maplewood State Park gathers sap to make syrup.
Thanks for joining us for this week's edition of Agweek TV. Remember, for all your ag news, go to agweek.com or follow us on Facebook and Twitter as well.
The Agweek Livestock Tour is sponsored by Transova and the Stockman's Livestock Exchange.
On this week's Agweek Livestock Tour stop, Noah Fish visits with an Angus operation on the Minnesota-Iowa border. That's 8 generations and more than a century old.
Thanks, Michelle. I'm here with Chris Miller and Larry Miller with Miller's Viewlawn Angus in Mabel, Minnesota. And so what do you guys sell?
We do private sales of yearling bulls, yearling heifers, and 2-year-old bulls this year. In addition to that, in the fall, we also sell bred females and bred heifers.
Can you talk a little bit about calving?
We'll start about the 1st of April with calving, and we'll calve out about 250 cows.
What are you most proud of at Miller's Viewlawn Angus?
It's our heritage. We've been at this a long time. Some of the land has been in the family 153 years now, and we've had a totally registered Angus herd since 1903 that was started by my great-grandpa. And with our 7 grandsons around right now, they represent the 8th generation of Millers around here.
And do you want to talk a little bit about what it's like to operate on the border?
It's interesting being on the border. We're standing approximately 50 feet from the Iowa border right now, but it has its challenges at times, differentiation in taxes and laws and workman's comp, and I guess for a person that's never been used to it, it'd probably be a big pain, but we get used to it, and it gives us flexibility also with our cattle and our shipping requirements and health requirements, but some years it can be a little bit of a battle too with that in regards. So.
Sounds good. So this is Chris and Larry Miller, and I'm Noah Fish with Agweek in Maple, Minnesota.
A custom cattle feeder on the South Dakota-Minnesota border is fast becoming an innovator in turning bedded pack manure into a valuable soil additive. Mikkel Pates has more on humus compost in this week's Agweek cover story.
To make this place profitable, we had to use the manure.
Chad Olson owns a 3,500 head beef feedlot near the South Dakota-Minnesota border. He has lots of manure, more than he can practically apply in his own acres as fertilizer in its raw form. Olson's agronomist Kurt Daigle urged him to invest in a humus composting enterprise to make better use of the volume produced in the operation. Using manure as fertilizer helps save money, but it's also carbon friendly and densifies nutrients for growing crops.
That's the byproduct of any feeding operation, is you're going to have manure. And a lot of times it's an issue, but we want to capitalize on that it's an asset. So composting, it's a tried and true proven way to densify nutrients, and then you can get them in a transportable form.
Olson spent a total of about $1 million on the 14-acre composting system, including site preparation, specialized equipment, and training. The process dries and composts manure, and it turns it into a fertilizer that is drier and easier to transport and apply to cropland.
We're really hoping to see not only more efficiency out of our manure, but yield bumps on the back end off of our corn crop.
Another Olson agronomist, Trent Johnson, says that as they gear up, they'll likely produce more than they can use on their own acres, so they're already planning to sell it to other farms or in landscaping markets.
We want to see the benefits on our farm as well. We're not just trying to sell a product. We want to see good use out of it as well.
So in 2021, a new compost enterprise.
Well, I think it's already a winner.
For Agweek, this is Mikkel Pates at Toronto, South Dakota.
You can read more in the next Agweek magazine or at agweek.com. Ahead on Agweek TV, we'll tell you how you can bring back unproductive saline soils.
When the water's high and your yields are low, 'cause your fields have no place for water to flow. Just one call takes care of it all. Call on Field Drainage Incorporated. Call on Field Drainage Incorporated. Call on Field Drainage. The experts in the field.
Salty soils? Meet Calcine, one of the quickest and most effective way to fix salty soils. It's natural, it's easy to use, and most importantly, it works. On sodic soils, on saline soils, on all soils. Put calcium to work leaching salt below the root zone and out of your field, resulting in less compaction, better irrigation, improved health, and lots of these guys for your soil. And higher quality forage, greater yields, and lower bottom line production costs for you. With more than 20 years of use in the industry and a proven track record of bringing life back to challenging soils, you can trust Calcine to ensure your fields are their most productive. Calcine, let's create healthier soils. To learn more about how Calcine can improve the productivity of your fields, contact Jim Erickson or visit calcine.us.
Steffes Group, selling land and the equipment to farm it since 1960. If you're interested in selling or have questions about our auction process, head to our website at steffesgroup.com to contact us at any one of our 4 locations located throughout the Midwest. You can also visit and subscribe to our YouTube channel to view all of our auction previews and recaps to stay up to date on the market in your area.
Go beyond the headlines with an Agweek membership.
Get in-depth agribusiness reporting, original farm and ranch stories, and fact-based research for the most comprehensive ag news in the upper Midwest. Experienced ag journalists bring you exclusive ag news, insights, and policy updates you won't find anywhere else. Become a member today and get unlimited access to Agweek and AgweekTV.
Our weather is moderated this week, which has been welcomed by farmers and livestock, but it still looks pretty dry. Will that continue? Here's our agri-weather outlook.
As we get ready to close the books on February, let's take a look at the month of March as far as the outlook goes here. And again, we are going to see the potential for temperatures remaining above average off to our south. And for our neck of the woods here, the northern plains, upper Midwest, overall, we are going to see conditions rather much on the drier side here. And those temperatures as well could be either on the warmer side or on the cooler side. And a lot has to deal with dependent on any type of major systems that look to develop across the parts of March. Again, if we stay somewhat on the drier side here, we're going to see that temperature trending upward here over the next few weeks here. And overall, we are tracking that precipitation trend to, again, lack here as we go throughout at least the first half of March. Looking at our snowfall comparison here, areas across the southern plains and central plains picking up quite a bit of snowfall this year. Check out Omaha coming in at nearly that 50-inch mark. Meanwhile, Sioux Falls coming in at 30 inches of snow. You go up to the northern plains across a good chunk of North Dakota, the northwestern tier of Minnesota here, and we are severely lacking in the snowfall department this season. And of course, even throughout the fall month, if you take the actual liquid precipitation, it has been lacking as well. You go over towards the Great Lakes, though, thanks to some lake effect snow and some more moisture systems that has created some more higher snowfalls. Check out Madison coming in at just over 40 inches of snow. Chicago, 47 inches of snow this season, and 63 inches up into Duluth. And as we go throughout this first week of March, we are going to see the temperatures dipping down this weekend as we close out February, thanks to a nice dip into our jet stream. And then as we go into the first part of March here, we're going to see what's called the ridge here building up into our north. And as that jet stream starts to move its way northward, that'll help to pump up some milder air from the south. And that'll get us some nice 40s and 50s working its way into parts of the Dakotas and parts of Minnesota as well. And this pattern looks to persist right on throughout the first full week of March, going forward into the first full weekend of the month of March as well. Here's a look at our temperature outlook. Again, well above average temperatures can be a favorite across much of the plain states, much of the upper Midwestern states, and the precipitation outlook here, again, as we close out February and go in throughout the month of March as well. The first half, we're going to see those precipitation outlooks remaining well below seasonal average. So this is what we're tracking. Again, snow-eating temperatures can be expected as we go throughout the next 1 to 2 weeks, and this will be highly dependent on any storm systems that do develop. If we stay relatively on the quieter side, we're going to see these temperatures spiking up, and that's going to allow these snow belts to begin to dry up any snow that's currently out there, and that'll bring us some nice warming temps as we head into spring.
When the water's high and your yields are low, 'cause your fields have no place for water to flow, just one call takes care of it all. Call on Field Drainage Incorporated. Call on Field Drainage Incorporated. Call on Field Drainage. The experts in the field.
When you think about it, productivity starts at planting. So it's time to rethink how productive your planter can be. We did with the new Case IH 2000 Series Early Riser Planter. We rethought your row unit so it's tougher, more accurate. We rethought your meter, took the most precise technology, factory installed it. We rethought every inch of the Case IH Early Riser Planter to make it the most productive planter around. And if you think about it, that's exactly what you want.
Schedule an uptime inspection for your equipment with the Case IH service professionals at your local Titan Machinery. Our Case IH certified service technicians have the training, experience, and genuine Case IH parts to ensure your equipment is ready for next season. Planting and harvesting windows are short. Have confidence in your equipment's performance with a Titan Machinery multi-point uptime inspection. Titan Machinery, your local Case IH service leader.
The best land rollers in the industry are built right here in North Dakota. And now, they carry a 10-year factory warranty. With sizes from 15 to 91 feet, Summers has the right fit for any operation. Go to summersmfg.com or visit your local dealer to learn more about the full line of Summers field-tested tough equipment.
We're going to talk today about a revolutionary auto steer product that you guys have developed.
We back one of these things in, it'll drain a 40-acre patch just within hours.
What can you tell us about what dairy farmers do to make sure that their animals are happy?
Their care is our primary concern.
Is there still time for producers to get storage bins up?
Absolutely. We still can definitely get something up and ready for corn harvest.
It's time to be thinking about spring planting, but it's also the perfect time to work on improving your unproductive land. Salinity can leave parts of a field barren, but now there's a solution that can bring that land back to productivity. Rose Dunn explains how Calcine improves the soil.
We got wheat to grow where nothing had grown in these areas basically for years.
Tom Vanderheiden loves to share the story of Calcine with growers and how it can bring dead spots on their farms back to life by removing salts in the soil's upper layers. He's an agronomist who's now the Ag Sales Director of Calcine distributor ST Biologicals.
So that was one treatment in the spring, and we started growing wheat that same year.
Salt pushes the other nutrients off of the soil colloids. That leaves the land unproductive and costs growers money. Land can become too saline from dry conditions, irrigation, or a number of other factors. But Calcine can help solve that. It puts calcium to work, leaching salt below the root zone and out of your field naturally.
It uses protein, sugars, natural surfactants. It basically mimics the root exudates that a plant gives off.
An Arizona-based company developed the technology to take salts out of the soil at golf courses, but soon it was put to use on unproductive farmland. It's especially a problem in the upper Midwest.
Some of it is from way back when the glaciers came through and left salts, and some of it's because of the additional salts that have been added through fertilizer through the last 50 years.
Calcine is a spray-on product and can be used for all unproductive soils, whether sodic or saline. It can take 2 or 3 growing seasons to see full results, but growers often see results after the first treatment. Recently, on a nearby farmstead, Tom worked closely with a grower who, for a long time, hadn't been able to grow anything on a 10-acre strip of land.
On that 10 acres, we got a little over 100 tons of beets off of those 10 acres. Not a full crop, but nothing had grown there for almost 20 years. Okay, so getting 10 tons of beets per acre gave them a nice payback.
Costs for the Calcine treatment vary from about $80 to $125 an acre over a 3-year period. A fairly small price to pay to recover abandoned acres compared to the cost of buying more land.
It's $125 and the ground sells for $2,500. If we can recover it, we get a 20-to-1 return on investment.
And that doesn't take into account the value of the crops. Vanderheiden says another added benefit, improving soil health, will also bring down inputs like lower fertilizer costs.
To reduce some of the inputs and be able to still get a high productive yield and get the return on investment back to the producer, because that's what's critically important.
In Hillsboro, North Dakota, this is Rose Dunn for Agweek.
For more information on Calcine, contact Jim Erickson at ECO at the phone number or email on your screen. Still ahead on Agweek TV, how 2 FFA chapters 1,000 miles apart are forming a bond.
You can get the field results you want in varying conditions with the flexibility of the Summers VRT Renegade, featuring on-the-fly blade angle adjustment from 0 to 19 degrees. And if you want the simplicity of a super coulter with the ability to move a little dirt, you'll love the all-new Summers Super Coulter Samurai. Go to summersmfg.com or visit your local dealer to learn more about North America's broadest line of tillage equipment and other products from North Dakota-based Summers Manufacturing.
This is Dennis Beliski reminding you we do auctions and we do them well. You've built your operation with hard work, and when it's time to sell, all or part, you deserve the best. Details from repairs and preparation to promotion and settlements are not routine. Chances are you'll only do this once, so we'll tailor an auction just for you and get it done right. On site at your farm or added to one of our highly successful Alaris Center auctions, we have the skill, reputation, and integrity to meet your needs with best-in-class commitment and quality service. Find us at resourceauction.com or call 701-757-4015.
When it comes to grain storage and handling solutions, one call does it all. Gateway Building Systems, the #1 Brock bin dealer in the U.S., is locally owned and provides turnkey convenience with factory direct product, complete design services, and in-house construction. Now's the perfect time to take advantage of discounts on Brock solid bins, grain dryers, and aeration systems. For more information, go online to gatewaybuilding.com or call 1-800-747-4499.
Agweek brings you timely agriculture news from field to fork in digital, print, and television. Fresh every week, join Jenny Schlecht from the Agweek editorial team and me, Al Windmill, from the sales and marketing team for a deeper dive into farm and ranch stories, along with guest interviews with personalities from the world of agriculture. If you're involved in farming, ranching, or agribusiness, the Agweek podcast is the show for you.
Every day across America, excess food is gathered by a network of good people at local food banks, giving hope to millions of children who struggle with hunger. They've earned their wings, and you can too. Together, we can solve child hunger. Support Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
It's National FFA Week and a time to celebrate the importance of ag education. 2 FFA chapters in Minnesota and Ohio have formed a bond by visiting each other's cities and learning about agriculture in other areas. As Emily Beal reports, they hope to keep it up after the pandemic.
Everybody will be here, so you get to see all of them.
These Sleepy Eye, Minnesota FFA students are learning a lot about ag in southern Minnesota, but they're also learning about ag 1,000 miles away, thanks to an exchange trip to Ohio set up by their teacher.
It was a really fun experience to go see and meet the other chapter, and we got to visit places around there and see how their agriculture does everything.
Sleepy Eye ag teacher and FFA advisor Mary Hoffman met her Casstown, Ohio counterpart on an FFA trip a few years ago. They hit it off and wanted their students to have the chance to meet as well, so she started planning a road trip.
Yes, Marie, we're going to make this happen. We're coming to Ohio.
The trip was such a success, the Ohio group came to Minnesota the next year.
So we went to one of my students who has like llamas, peacocks. So we try to do like lots of different types of agriculture so that all the students can learn, just what else is out there.
Because of COVID-19, the 2 chapters aren't sure when they'll meet again, but for their next trip, they plan to meet in the middle, maybe Indiana or Illinois.
I hope we can do it again because it's so cool to see them. It would be really cool if other chapters would do it as well because it's such an amazing opportunity.
In Sleepy Eye, Minnesota, this is Emily Beal for Agweek.
Morgan says it's been fun reconnecting with their Ohio friends at National FFA conventions and on social media. Thanks for watching this week's edition of Agweek TV. Remember, for all your ag news, go to agweek.com. You can also follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Have yourself a great and safe week.